In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the danger of manifestation symbols. This is the dark side of the law of attraction, and I'm going to show you what to be aware of so that you don't make this mistake. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of understanding manifestation symbols, the danger of them, and how to make sure you don't fall into the trap of it. Because I do see it happen a lot. There's parts of my life when I was definitely more focused on this, and it's something that when you become aware of, and if you were to keep going back to it, you would be in a way lying to yourself. You would be at least doing it from a level of awareness to where then you could choose something new. So when it comes to this process, this is something that a lot of people in the law of attraction community don't talk about. And it has to do with understanding the ego and the dark side of the ego. And the ego, in general, does everything it possibly can to survive. And let me explain to you a little bit about what the ego is so that you should understand why you shouldn't go after symbols. And even as I tell this to you, you're going to come to certain realizations. And even for a while, you may continue to do it, but eventually you'll see that that's not the actual true focus. You'll see that the focus is something completely different. Now, when we come to this planet, when we come to Earth in general, what we do is, first off, we are high vibrational, immortal spiritual beings that exist in higher dimensional states of consciousness. You could say in a way we have a higher self aspect of us. And what happens is when we come to Earth, we have to decelerate our vibration. We have to, I think the word avatar itself has to do with descending our vibration into physical form. Now what we do is we come down into this reality and we come down into our 3D physical avatar self. Now, in actuality, you are a being of love, joy, peace, enlightenment, but we're playing this game. We go through what is called a veil of forgetfulness, and in this veil of forgetfulness, we forget who we are. And we do that intentionally. We do that so that we can remember who we are and so that this experience feels more real. So then we come into this reality. We grow up and we are identifying with our environment. We are told to emphasize our senses, taste, touch, smell, hear, sight. We identify with it and we think this is who I am. And we go around, and then what we do is we focus on elevating our sense of self, because we're told growing up, and we learn growing up, that this is what's important. Compare yourself to other people. It matters what other people think. And we identify with the avatar. We identify with this character, this personality that is just a small part of who we are, but we start to identify with it because the way the avatar is wired is it is wired for survival. So then what eventually happens is we may experience a lot of pain. We may go through experiences that cause us to go through what is called a spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening is where we remember, hey, this is an avatar. It feels an experience. I feel it's real, but I know now at a deeper level that I am a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. People learn that through meditation, through awareness. And then what people become aware of is, oh, my thoughts create my reality. My thoughts influence the reality I'm experiencing. My beliefs create my reality. This is a very powerful point that a lot of people get to. However, the ego is still wired at that of accentuating the sense of self, because the ego wants to survive. And because it's identifying with who it thinks it is, it will do everything it can to survive and to be right, to establish its sense of self. So even beyond just survival mechanism, it'll want to be right. If someone did something to it, a lot of times it'll go to victim mode and it'll say, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done this. And it gets a little dopamine high off of being right. And everyone has an ego that wants to be right. Now, then what happens is we may learn about the law of attraction. We may learn that our thoughts create our reality. And this is the dark hole that many people fall down. And that has to do with going after manifestation symbols. symbols are these things in our life that we think will bring us happiness. A symbol would be money. A symbol would be a relationship. A symbol would be certain opportunities, certain things happening. More likes on Instagram posts. Validation. These are all symbols that in of itself, they aren't bad, but the trap is people identify and want to get more symbols, which will then accentuate its sense of self. Because then it'll say, okay, this is where I am. If I get a little bit more, then I can feel better than the people around me. I can compare myself and feel like I'm a little bit more worthy. And then it completely identifies with the external, thinking that when all these things happen, then they can be happy. But see, this is the thing about the ego that a lot of people aren't aware of. The ego operates solely based on fear. Solely based on fear. Because the ego wants to accentuate itself. The ego wants to survive. The ego wants to remain with what is comfortable. And any belief you have, because yes, our beliefs create our reality, but here's the thing. Any belief we have is actually founded based on fear. Imagine it. If I go, I'm making right now $50,000 a year, that's a limiting belief. I want to make $100,000 a year, or even $100,000 a month. That belief is still rooted in the symbol making and having someone be happy. And that fear is, if I can at least get $100,000 a year or a month or whatever it is, then I can be happy. When in actuality, it's about understanding vibration. This is when we start to tap more into the fourth dimensional state of consciousness, which is understanding this all comes from within. Now, am I saying to not focus on all that at all? I'm saying don't base your happiness on thinking that that will make you happy. And I know it's easier said than done. Trust me, I get that. Because I remember there's this famous quote by Les Brown. If you guys ever heard of Les Brown, he's a real cool motivational speaker. And he's like, they say money don't buy you happiness, but damn it, every one of you are going to try to find that out. You know, like you still want to find out for yourself. You know? And what I'm saying is focus on the state of being. Focus on the passion. Make sure whatever you're focused on is connected to your heart. And don't go for the symbols. And I'm saying that from experience as well, because I went from somebody that didn't have very much. I was working a 9-to-5 job to living in more abundance than I could even imagine at the time back in the day. Now, I'm very grateful, but I realize that the key is aligning with my soul. It's aligning with who I am and making that the focus. So the danger of manifestation symbols, of the symbol of when I get this, then I'll be happy if I just had more money, the danger is then it is completely focused on accentuating its sense of self and of pleasing the ego. Then we may make the mistake of going through our life thinking that it's all about pleasing the ego. The ego is a part of your physical experience, but it is not the whole thing. It's about aligning the ego with the soul and merging it together and understanding that of the vibration of this experience. It's about focusing on vibration and you doing what you love. You see, the key is really in the passion. It's cliche, I know, but because I'm doing what I love and because I have this intention of adding value to other people, because it's a feeling that also feels good, I feel like more and more abundance comes to me. It's much easier for it to come because it's almost like the universe wants to work through me. That's why I can get up in front of you every day and do a video every single day for the last 2.5 years. It's because there's not much me, the ego, the fear me. It's more of this allowing these larger aspects, this vibrational part of me to flow through. So there's very little ego me. But the key is first off becoming aware of the ego and its desire to remain in itself, to remain accentuating the senses and the fear mentality. So the danger is that you will destroy your relationships, destroy the people you're on, trying to get somewhere else, creating that resistance. When instead, The key can be on focusing on the vibration of what you want to experience, knowing that you're already whole and complete. It's about alignment and not going after the symbols itself. If you go after the symbols, you'll be chasing your whole entire life. And let me tell you something from experience. You get to a certain goal in your mind. Whether I remember the first time I did this, my goal was 100,000 followers on YouTube. Hit 100,000 and it felt good for a day, but then it was like the mind is looking for a new symbol. Then it says, how about 200? Then you hit 200, so how about 300? How about 400? How about 500? The mind will always look for another symbol. But the key is to not base the happiness based on symbols. And the paradox is that by going straight to the feeling itself, knowing that you can allow yourself to feel any emotion you want by being instead of thinking and doing, those things will come anyways. The symbols will come to you. But I'm also a true believer. This is something I thought about recently too. I'm a believer that certain things won't come into your life until you're ready, until you're mature enough for it. Unless it's coming in for a lesson or something. But things a lot of times don't come in life until you're ready. I remember thinking to myself, man, when I'm making a lot of money, that'll just be awesome. But I didn't know how to manage money. I thought that when I got all that money, what I would do is I would just spend it on dumb stuff. However, what I realized is the more money that I am abundant with, the more money I make, the wiser I am with my money. And now I'm able to make more abundance, more symbols, because I understand the energy of it. I understand that I'm not just going to go out and blow it all on all this stuff that I used to think I would. So it's almost like you get that which you are ready for. And if you are, in a way, identifying with the symbol itself and putting the symbol on a pedestal as well, you create increased importance with it as well. So even if everything I'm saying, you're like, you know, bro, I still want the symbol, okay? I get what you're saying. I get this whole ego thing, but I still want the symbol. Well, first off, it's the ego that wants the symbol. The larger part of you wants to be happy. The larger part of you wants to raise its vibration. But the key to this is being aware of that. Being aware of that aspect of you and not letting it run you, not letting it take control of the wheel. Observe it and allow yourself to then focus more on the vibration of what you want to experience. Focus on you being the kind of person that does what you love. When you get to the core of whatever that is, that's when your life will begin to change. Because then you won't be going for the manifestation symbols, you'll be going straight to the core vibration. And if you focus on raising your vibration first, I promise you, manifestation will be easier. Imagine that scale of consciousness that I always share. As you move up it, your vibration increases, and then things happen in more synchronicity. Things happen easier because your vibration is raised. When we talk about the book Autobiography of a Yogi with Paramahansa Yogananda, who talks about his experience of going through enlightenment and all the gurus he met a lot of gurus that were enlightened. They could do magical things. Why? They were of such a high vibration, and they realized the truth about reality, that is that reality is a form of dream. And because they realized the truth of this, they could do things that we think would be impossible, like make objects materialize, or levitate, or bilocate. They could do things like this because they were of such a high vibration. So a lot of people in the manifestation symbols are in those lower vibrational states of consciousness, wanting to accentuate its sense of self, its sense of worthiness, based on external factors. And then what happens is it keeps them in a little perpetual loop of the sense of self. The key to raising your vibration is putting the energy out and being of service to others. It's what you give when you start to get much more. What can you give? Start to ask yourself that question. We, in this reality, identify with this 3D part of ourselves, but in actuality, 4D level of consciousness is about understanding that we're all connected. And because we're all connected, what you do to someone else comes back at you, because what you do to someone else, you do to another aspect of yourself. So what can you give? Because when you focus on what you can give, you're not so much focused on the symbols, but the symbols will come to you. But the key is to not identify with them, to not think that that is who you are, that if you just had a little bit more, you could be happy. The danger is that then you may live 20, 30, 40 years identifying with the law of attraction, with accentuating the ego versus understanding the truth. And the truth is, first off, raise your vibration. Raise your vibration, and then manifestation will come easier, and you won't identify with these symbols, the parts of that are fleeting anyways. So the awareness really is the key. And I say this because I want to help people wake up. It's all about awareness, waking up to who we really are. We are immortal spiritual beings. Law of attraction is amazing. However, when we identify with the fear mechanism of it and we identify with it accentuating our sense of self, we stay within a little bubble that blocks us from getting to a new level of vibration. So something else that will help you to get to that level of vibration is a free meditation I have. You'll see it in the top description box below. Listen to it for 21 days. I think it'll help transform your life because you start to see yourself in a new way, help you to raise your vibrational set point. Also, I'm going to be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you want to ask me questions, you can do so right here at Instagram. Plus, I post daily content there as well. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the little notification gear so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.